scales, and map scales allow us to measure distance on our spatial analysis. So there are three types of map scales. The first one is the ratio or representative fraction. An example of that is 1 to 10,000 here. And what this means is that 1 unit on the map represents 10,000 units on the ground. You could also have sentence or verbal map scale. And for example, 1 inch represents 4 miles. And then lastly, your third type of map scale is the graphic scale. And you can see here, this is an example of a graphic scale. It is represented by a line graph. So here is the distance of one. Your map will tell you if this is in miles or kilometers. So 1 mile, and this whole distance is 4 miles. So your map could either be a large scale map or a small scale map. The difference between the two is that a large scale map is more detailed. It is zoomed in. For example, an area of downtown Los Angeles, you're going to have more detail on that type of map. You could see the streets, the street names, for example. And the representative fraction is 1 to 5,000 for, let's say, a large scale map. Whereas a small scale map, you have less detail. It is zoomed out. An example would be a map of the United States. So it is zoomed out. We don't have a lot of detail. And the representative fraction is 1 to 1 million. Here, these are 4 different maps at 4 different scales. This map here is a small scale map. There is less detail and it is zoomed out. So again, it would be this one, small scale. Whereas this one, it is a large scale map. We see that it is zoomed in to Seattle, and we could see the street names, the water names, and so again, this has more detail. So again, when you are selecting a map projection for your map, you have to think about your map purpose. What properties should be preserved? If you're analyzing angles or navigating or surveying, you would want to have a conformal map projection. Now, if you're comparing areas working on process influenced by the area, such as thematic maps, you would want to use an equivalent map projection. So again, what geographic areas are you mapping? Think about which projection surface, which we just covered. There are 3 types of projection surfaces, which is conic, cylindrical, and planar. The tangency, whether it's tangent or secant, so whether you have 1 standard parallel or 2 standard parallels, and the aspect, so the orientation, whether it's normal, transverse, or oblique. So again, for world maps, you would want to use a cylindrical projection. For mid-latitude areas such as North America, Europe, and the Soviet Union, and also other east to west countries, you would want to use a conic projection. And then for polar regions, you would want to use a planar projection. For the aspect, again, for the transverse cylinder, this is, you're looking at areas running north to south, and oblique cylinder, you're looking for areas that are running east to west. And then tangency, you make your own standard lines. So whether you want to look at 1 standard line or 2 standard lines. So review questions. What are 3 basic attributes of a map? What 3 ways can maps state their scale? What is the difference between a small scale and large scale map? And what geographic relationships are distorted with map projections? So again, this is our topic for this week, and our lab assignment, you will be comparing 2 types of map projections on ArcGIS Online. And again, review the lab assignments, and I also recommend working on your lab assignment along with when you're doing your readings, so you could apply what you have read and reviewed from lecture. Thank you everyone for watching.